All right, everybody. You're still at Hard Rock Hell 10. I'm still Gino D, and welcome on the couch, one of my all-time favorite bands, believe it or not, Living Colour. Guys,
hey, what's not to believe?
I was going to say, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's just say, I know that, with Hard Rock Hell being in its 10th year, we wanted to do things differently, and one of the wishes was to get you guys on that damn stage. Right. And it's been finally achieved. What do you find of the site so far?
Wow, it's green. There are a lot of trailers. It's fun. We're enjoying it. Getting lost.
Yeah.
Walking around. There's a Starbucks. That was fun.
I think it's really cool, to have it at at kind of like a place where families can come and kind of like hang out with their kids during the summertime, and then the adults can come here and hang out with their friends for these events like that. So what Johnny Davis did, I think, is kind of great to be able to sustain a festival like this for celebrating 10 years, and from where he started off in Ibiza and being able to just move the dial a little bit. Yeah. Now here we are, Living Colour from the States, coming out here and being able to meet some new friends and spread some gospel, and we're just happy to be here.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy you guys are here.
Well, thank you.
I was going to say, because it's been a hell of a long time since I saw you, so So we won't age everybody, but I got enough gray hair to last us.
Well, I'm older than everybody, so it doesn't really matter. You can go down from that point.
How does it feel to be doing this?
Oh, it's great. We're having it's great to be. We're part of a hard rock, metal, punk community, and we've always been very diverse in what we do. Yeah. But it's always good to be among the brethren. We always have a good time. Yeah. With folks, because we're coming from a real place. We don't apologize for what we do. We do what we do, and those people that can handle that have a good time with us, because we're not we don't fit into a particular bag. Yeah. We've always had a lot of different things going on. So it's always good to be.
And you guys have always been outspoken but held true to your guns. That's one of the things I've always admired about you guys.
Well, that's part of what the rock and roll ethos is, right? You're not going to tell me what to do. I mean, that's the thing about metal, hard rock, punk, all of these, we're going to do what we want to do. And that's very much what we do. Because coming from the communities that we come from, we also came up hearing Sabbath, and hearing Led Zeppelin, and hearing Metallica, but also we come from hearing James Brown and Kool and the Gang and Ornette Coleman and Mob Vishnu Orchestra, and all these different things were part of our DNA. Yeah. So, but we just do what we do. As well as being connected to things like singers like Jackie Wilson, and being influenced by folks like Otis Redding, we put all of that in the mix without separation.
And I mean, when you guys first started, it was difficult because it was because of the perception everybody had, and it took a long while, I guess, for the mainstream rock, reviewers and magazines and everybody else to understand that it was about the music, and it wasn't just a gag.
It wasn't really a gimmick. It never was a gimmick. Everybody in the band's pedigree, notwithstanding, we were really about the music, and we didn't play favorites with anybody or anything. Yeah. We're just as home here at Hard Rock Hell as we are at, say, a jam band festival, or at a jazz festival or anything like that. We have no pretensions about what music can and does do. It makes things heal and hurt and emote and do everything. So why not use everything on your palette to make it happen? And we never really thought that was a problem. I think people outside of us constantly thought that this was some sort of this is some sort of trick. This is some avant-garde guitar player and a gospel singer and this jazz drummer and this art noise bass player trying to make metal music, and it wasn't. It was, you know, it was us. When we got together and we started playing, it sounded like this. You know, and that's what happened. And I yield my time to Vernon.
Yeah, and on that, all I can say is thank God for that, because I think after everybody realized and finally understood what the hell was going on, the influence and the change and the impact that it had on the bands that it came down 20 years later. You guys had a massive influence in helping guide that.
Right.
And a lot of people didn't see that at the time.
Well, people just sort of saw that there was 4 black guys.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get past that. They couldn't get past the hue of our skin and actually listen to the music. But once they did listen to the music, like if you listened to it on the radio and you didn't know who these people were, it's like, oh shit, that's a really good song.
Yeah.
As much as we are the architects, we're the recipients as well of what took place, because there was so many folks like, Vernon mentioned, and we all understand, the historical frequencies that took place prior, that got into our DNA, whether it's, Jimi Hendrix, or it goes back to like the Bar-Kays, or it goes back to Ike Turner. Yeah. Or, like how deep do you want to go down that wormhole? Everybody is kind of influenced by somebody. You start off as a youth, and you kind of find a way to have an elder that maybe gives you some advice, and takes you to gives you a conscious level of what's happening, and then it's up to you to be able to figure out, how you want to process this information, and are you willing to share that information as well? So I guess to sustain yourself over time is a real a key element in being able to give yourself the opportunity to come out, speak, do shows, meet people over time, over years. Living Color, we've been a band that has been able to sustain ourselves as friends, family members. Yep. We share the influence. We're like anybody else. We're like brothers in arms, and there's light and there's darkness. We have to deal with all of these things in the reality of this world that we live in. But I'm just thankful myself personally that we're able to have this friendship and this unit in this moment in time right now. And Living Color, again, we were blessed to have a Mick Jagger and other folks to be able to take a nod to us, but it wasn't just, it could have happened. Why didn't that happen 20 years before?
Yes, it's true. Yeah. It's true. It's like the connections. The thing that for us is that when music comes from a real place, we just respond to it. So the other day, I was listening to WSOU. It's like a metal station out of New Jersey, and they played Anthrax Antisocial. Yeah. And it brought a smile to my face because they are a band that we have a personal connection to. Yeah. And we think about when they did Bring the Noise with Public Enemy, and what Public Enemy meant for us, as well as to know that what they meant for Anthrax and things of that nature. The first time I heard Master Puppets, I was like, that's coming from a real place. It didn't matter what the packaging or the style was. Yeah. When first time, we wouldn't have been possible without the Bad Brains. And right now, the Bad Brains, they're nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but they're responsible for, so many other bands coming up behind them, and we're part of a continuum. When we were on Shiprock, and there's a band called Butcher Babies. They couldn't have done music more different than us, but they stepped to us and said, you know what? Part of how we even did this is because we saw y'all. And that's
same with Alter Bridge.
And that's the key to it.
Same with, Alter Bridge loves to tell a story. You can tell a story instead of me of how they were influenced. How they got started with Creed was like the drummer was playing Cult of Personality, and Mark came in and said, "I know that song. Let's jam on that." And then when that's how everything sort of coalesced with that, and then them turning into Alter Bridge. But we could talk about that. We could go through names of bands forever. Yeah. We could talk about that kind of thing forever and go on and on and on about how this influenced that, which influenced this, which influenced that, which influenced that. And the connections are always going to be there.
It's incredible.
Yeah. Part of the importance of, I think, your question and Corey's point before was, the importance of the band. Part of the statement you made about it being a surprise in the 80s also was due to the industry, how things looked at that time. and how, in my opinion, the industry sort of homogenized black artists into being, a rap group. Or Living Color was a really interesting, I think, a shocking kick to the balls because of just, it did have those elements of hip hop, it did have those elements of jazz, but we actually weren't that. We didn't look like that. We kind of didn't dress in that way, but we had those who were our mates. There on our records, you could hear the sounds of James Brown in our music. You can hear the sounds of Led Zeppelin. So there was a combination of what actually was happening at that time. I think that was also part of the shock of the band. The Cult of Personality video, the way it looks and the way we look and the way the riff sounds, etc., was just really. It was really a bit of a cold water thrown on that situation when you get down to talking about what's a shock and what's not a shock. Because there's a lot of white bands that came out during that time, I don't need to mention, that were a shock to me, but they weren't seen to be a shock to the industry. Yeah. So, when you look at it in that kind of a sense, the best part of it is that we remained to be Living Color during that time. That we didn't want to take any kind of asides. It was important for us to be us. And still now, it's really important for us to be us so we can go out and make the music we need to make. And whatever comes off of that or not is sometimes it takes a minute. Yeah. There's a lot of musicians that were, Vernon mentioned Ornette Coleman. I mean, they said he was jiving for 30 or 40 years. Yeah. When he was 70 years old, he started getting $250,000 gigs to play solo saxophone. Yeah. So, that's my point. It takes some time. But the most important thing is that Ornette made the music when he made it. Yeah. So it's important for Living Color us to be Living Color, not to be jaded by that experience. And it's great to be here and play with these other bands. I'm looking forward to it.
I know a lot of people are looking forward to it, so I can't wait to see you guys on that stage again tonight.
We're psyched. We're psyched for it.
So on that note, all I can say is I'm still Gino D, and these are still collectively known as Living Color. Thank God for that, and we'll see you later on down the road.
Thank you.
Peace.
Thank you.